Accessing peace. Existing without violence, with the ability to calmly resolve conflict. Downloading love. An overwhelming, deep, positive affection towards others. Activating liberty. Living your life as you see fit without infringing on the lives of others.
Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. I am your host, Darryl W. Perry, the Liberty Penguin, the Wombat, the uncut cocaine of libertarianism. And you know what day today is? Yeah. It's the day that I answer your questions. It's the Ask Me Anything. And I know it's been a while. Because last weekend I was in Omaha and I was hoping to have been able to done a show from the Omaha Roads to Freedom Unconvention. But alas, that did not happen. And then on Monday, I was traveling on Monday for some weird reason. And I don't know why, but for some weird reason, I kept thinking that I was flying back on Tuesday, but no, I flew back on Monday, and I've actually got an odd story about, well, not the travels per se, but the unconvention. Well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and chat about it before getting into the question, and there's only one this week, but it somehow ties into the unconvention. And, well, I was asked this several times at the unconvention and then was catching up with someone recently, and they asked the question as well. So I figured, you know what? Might as well answer it in an Ask Me Anything episode of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. So the unconvention was good. Wound up getting to see some people that I had not seen in a while, meeting some new people, which is always good. And it's not really a complaint. And I even spoke with the organizers of the event and said, if I had to make a suggestion of, if you do this next year, and I hope you do, it seemed like there were too many things going on at once to where they had the main room and then they had 3 other rooms, and every room had something going on at the same time during the bulk of the day. And so the attendance was rather scarce. Again, not that, it's necessarily bad the way they did it, and I understand why they did how they did and whatnot, because they wanted to make a splash of, hey, we've brought in these big names. We brought in Ron Paul. We brought in Eric July. We brought in Laura Epke, who's a state senator in Nebraska, which she didn't have to travel far because the event was in Nebraska. They brought in Darryl Perry. They brought in Vermin Supreme. They brought in Starchild. They brought in people that are big names within the Libertarian Party and, across libertarianism as a whole. They brought in Dr. Mary Ruwart. Amazing woman. And, I don't have anything bad to say about any of the speakers. Well, I could say something bad about one of the speakers, but I will not. But just note, it was not anybody that I mentioned. So, wonderful event. I just think it was, trying to do too many things. If I'm invited back next year, I'll definitely go again because, again, I like what they're doing. I just thought that they were trying to do too much. Now, with that said, I knew that I had some training runs to do for an upcoming half marathon in, just over 3 weeks. I was not prepared for the Omaha heat. I did not realize that it got up into the upper to mid 90s in Omaha in late May. So when I went out and did my 5-mile run on Saturday, I wound up going earlier than I normally go for runs. Normally, I go for runs late afternoon. I knew how hot it was on Friday late afternoon when I walked across the parking lot to go get supper. I knew I wasn't going to be able to go run at that time. So I wound up going what for me was an early run, which was just after breakfast. And it was still in like the mid to upper 80s, which meant that I did not have, well, it didn't mean that I didn't have hydration. The fact that I was traveling meant that I didn't have my hydration pack with me, and I didn't have any of the gels that I normally would have on a day when I'm going out for a long-ish run. Not that 5 miles is necessarily a long run, but when it's hot, it kind of is a little far. And the irony here is that I was listening to a podcast, the So This Is Fitness podcast, and while I'm there starting to overheat, take a wild guess what the host of that podcast was talking about. Yep, that's right. Proper hydration on runs. Yeah. I felt like there was, actual insult to injury there. Not that I wound up being injured, but, if you've ever been out in the heat and you start to overheat, then you have to, cut back the exertion. And so, there was a lot of walking on that 5 mile run that I normally would not have. But again, it's because I did not have hydration. And while I'm sitting there sweating profusely, hearing the host of the podcast explain all the reasons why you need proper hydration in the hot summer months. Yeah, I just had those thoughts of, yep, he's definitely talking to Darryl right now. And I've actually got a story that, if there's time, I will get into about proper hydration, plus something that I want to talk about because it's the Ask Me Anything. And, well, when I only have one question that's not going to take a ton of time to answer, if I'm not able to do a deep dive into it, well, I just start rambling and talk about whatever I want to. And in this case, I want to talk about some controversy at the Cleveland Marathon. Yeah, I know I talked about the controversy at the Boston Marathon a couple of weeks ago, but there's more controversy at a different marathon, and, well, it's not the same controversy that they had down in Beantown. Stay tuned. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at weusecoins.com. That's weusecoins.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry. Online at fppradio.com.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. We'll jump into answering the question here in just a second. But before we do, I have a question for you. Are you an advocate for free market money? Do you use and promote Bitcoin as an alternative in this fiat-centric world? If so, then you need SpendABit in your arsenal. SpendABit is the search engine for things you can buy with Bitcoin. SpendABit aggregates millions of products from thousands of Bitcoin-enabled merchants. Keep your money in the free economy. Spend a bit. Use my affiliate link, spendabit.fppradio.com. And if you're a Bitcoin accepting merchant like I am, ask about their merchant suite to reach even more customers. Spendabit.fppradio.com. That's spendabit, all one word, spendabit.fppradio.com. Now, here's the question for the week. And I realize there could be multiple questions during a week. And again, if you have any questions that you want me to answer on the Ask Me Anything, head over to ama.fppradio.com. That's AMA as in Ask Me Anything.fppradio.com, and you can send those questions in anonymously. I know it sounds strange, right? Something actually anonymous on the internet? Well, yeah, this form is. You do have to put a name. Again, it doesn't have to be your name. It doesn't even have to be the name of a human or an animal. You could just put some random characters. Maybe put a Q and a 9 and maybe a colon in there if you want to. Just put something in the name area. You need to put something that looks like an email address in the email address area. But the only thing that really needs to actually be English words that I can understand is the question. And then I will answer those on an upcoming AMA. Again, the website, ama.fppradio.com. So the question that I've been asked a lot in basically the last week, Darryl, you going to run for president again? Will you run in 2020? Are you going to run for president in 2020, Darryl? And I will answer here the same way that I have answered elsewhere, is I have no intentions of running for president in 2020. The only running that I plan to do, other than, like training runs, is maybe a marathon, maybe a few half marathons, and an ultra. I might wind up maybe trying to do another Spartan. And maybe, just maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll go try out to be on American Ninja Warrior. I don't know. And, there's some running in Ninja Warrior. I definitely would need to build up the upper body strength a little bit, work on the balance obstacles a bit. Now, sort of tangentially related to Ninja Warrior, and if you've never seen the show, then I definitely recommend it. It's basically a skills competition for people that are much more athletic than I am. But one of the obstacles that they have, and it's an obstacle course race sort of thing, again, but for people that are much more athletic than I, the final obstacle in the regular course is something called a warped wall. Now, if you've ever been to like a skate park or a bicycle park or something where they've got like the quarter pipe, half pipe sort of thing, imagine that, but a little bit taller, and it warps out a little bit at the top. So instead of being, basically flat before the curve, it curves out so that the top of the wall sticks out from, the part that goes up a little bit. And I realize it's very difficult to explain in an audio medium. But having watched a good bit of Ninja Warrior, every time I go by the skate park in downtown Keene, I think to myself, should I try running up the quarter pipe as if it were a warped wall? And, well, a couple days ago, I was riding my bike by the skate park and noticed it's empty. There is nobody here. So guess what Darryl did? Yep, that's right. Darryl went and parked his bike in the skate park and then took a run and ran right up it. That was on like the 4.5 foot, maybe 5 foot. I'm not really sure. And then I was like, all right, here's one that's a little bit taller. That's about 6 foot. Yeah, I think I can do this. And then I ran up that one, and instead of how they always grab the top with their hands and then pull themselves up. I got far enough up, and then I just sat down at the top of the wall. And I felt like so awesome and cool. The only thing that was missing was a buzzer for me to hit at the end. So yeah, maybe in 2020 I'll try doing American Ninja Warrior and then actually getting to hang out with all of the cool people that I interact with on Twitter. Yeah, there are some cool ninjas hanging out on Twitter. Barclay Stockett, Maggie Thorne, Michelle Warnke, the Island Ninja who does a bunch of dancing. Who are some of... There are several others that have liked some of my tweets. Heck, the Ninja Warrior official Twitter thing liked one of my tweets that I tweeted out to Barclay Stockett a couple days ago. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. And, if I had sort of a wish list of races to run, I would say the World Marathon Challenge. Now, I would like to do the half marathon challenge on that instead of the full, because I think I could actually wind up winning the half marathon world challenge, because there's not that many people that sign up for the halves on the World Marathon Challenge, and you do a race a day for 7 days, one race on each continent. That would just be amazing. Next, I would love to do the I forget the actual name of the Florida Keys 100, where I think you start in Key West and you go all the way to Miami. Yeah, that's a good race for 2020, but running for president, definitely no plans to do that. I'll probably be a strong advocate for NOTA, none of the above. Big fan of NOTA compared to the couple of people that have already announced that they're running. Stay tuned, there's more here on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. In 1999, Darryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic. Ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com.
Hey, this is Adam from the ANCAP Barbershop. You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Online at fppradio.com. We'll change gears here in just a second. Talk about that controversy in Cleveland. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about something that I'm a big fan of, and that is Zencash. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. And with over 11,000 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed secure node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being embedded into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. And the Zencash wallet is available for Linux, Mac, Windows, and Android devices. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. So let's talk about this controversy in Cleveland, and then we'll, if there's time, we'll get into dehydration and why you need to properly hydrate, and what are some of the hydration mistakes that people make. So, Cleveland Marathon happened a couple of weeks ago. And the winner of the race, well, it was contested. Not because two people crossed the line at the same time and they had to do a photo finish. There was no allegation that somebody didn't actually run the entire course. No. The controversy here is that someone that wound up winning the race had violated U.S. ATF rules. ATF in this case, not the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. No. The USA track and field. So what happened here? Article from Cleveland19.com. And I've actually got two articles here. The first talks about the controversial finish, and then the second one talks about what the experts say. You know what? The one about what the experts say has the information in here as well. I'll just go ahead and post both links in the show notes so that you can look at both and watch the video clips that they have. But jumping in, the winner of the Cleveland Marathon, Daniel Mesfoon, is at the time he was waiting to find out if he was going to be disqualified for wearing a T-shirt that covered his runner's bib. A runner bib, if you're not familiar, is a piece of paper that has the runner's number. Oftentimes it will have the name of the event. It might have the name of the runner on there somewhere. Yet this guy covered his runner's bib. They have a picture of Daniel Mesfoon as he passed the guy that finished second. He then, about 400 or 500 yards from the finish line, removed the T-shirt that he was wearing and began waving it over his head, revealing his runner's bib, showing that he was an elite athlete. Now, one of the problems here is that in Cleveland, at the Cleveland Marathon, they have several races that are all using the same finish line, which means that you have several different types of athletes running on the same course. And the runner bibs are color-coded, designating which race people are running. So when the second place finisher saw someone coming to pass him, it wasn't necessarily an automatic giveaway of, oh, this guy's running the same race I am. Because, again, the picture showing Daniel Mesfoon passing the guy who finished second, there are a bunch of people in this photograph because some of those people were running a 10K, some were running a half marathon. So, again, what's the controversy? Well, the rules state clearly if one bib is provided, it must be worn visibly on the front. When two bibs are provided, they must be worn on the singlet, front and back. And it goes on to say that if the person's not wearing a singlet, basically a T-shirt, if they're not wearing a shirt of some sort, then the runner bibs can be attached to the shorts. Again, if there are two of them, front and back. If there's only one, it must be on the front. And it must be visible during the entire race. Daniel Mesfoon had his runner's bib covered for the vast majority of the race. Derek Murphy, who runs a website called Marathon Investigations, was contacted by Cleveland 19. He said, initially, when I heard that a runner didn't have a bib showing, I thought, is it really that big of a deal? But again, watching the video that you guys put out referring to Cleveland 19, he says, and reading that, or putting that together with the rules, I think it is kind of a big deal, and it's my opinion that the runners should be disqualified. Yeah, that's right. The guy broke the rules, and, well, the Cleveland Marathon director wound up saying, yeah, it doesn't matter that he broke the rules. We know that he crossed all of the timing mats, so therefore he's the winner. Now, I would generally not have a problem with that, saying, yeah, we're just going to ignore this rule. But this is a USA track and field rule. The Cleveland Marathon Yeah, it's a certified race by the U.S. Track and Field Association, meaning that you have to follow USA Track and Field rules. Daniel Mespoon should have been disqualified. There's more. This November, I'll be running the world's biggest and most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon, as a member of Team Innocence Project. The Innocence Project was the first legal organization to systematically apply DNA testing to cases of wrongful convictions as a powerful tool to reveal innocence. Tony Wright is a perfect example of the power of DNA. The Innocence Project litigated for almost 6 years to get the court's permission for DNA testing. Tony had been incarcerated for nearly 25 years in Pennsylvania and narrowly escaped the death penalty. Tony's case, sadly, is not unique. Empowered with the unequivocal proof of innocence provided by DNA technology, the Innocence Project has litigated hundreds of wrongful conviction cases, leading to the exoneration and freedom for more than 180 people through DNA testing. Overall, there have been 356 DNA exonerees in the United States who were wrongfully imprisoned for more than 4,875 years in total. You can help support the Innocence Project and help me secure my race entry in the New York City Marathon by going to run.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Yeah, there's more. There's a lot more that I could wind up saying about the Cleveland Marathon, but I will just say this. I don't plan on ever running the Cleveland Marathon. Not because I don't ever want to go to Cleveland, but, you know, when you see a race where the race director's like, yeah, I know the rules say this, but we're just going to ignore the rules, even though we have signed this thing saying that, you know, we're going to abide by the USA Track and Field rules, and then they don't. Yeah, it makes me not want to wind up, you know, supporting that race. Now, something that I do support, and I hope that you will support, that is what some people refer to as that original cold storage, diversifying your wealth, putting some of it into precious metals, say gold, silver. Maybe you want to wind up doing something a little different and wacky and getting some platinum or palladium. Well, I happen to know the guys and gals that can help you, and that would be the wonderful people at Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. They've been around since 1977 as a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals, meaning you want to get your hands on some precious metals, they can help you out. You have some that you want to get rid of for some reason, they can help you there as well, and they're a Bitcoin preferred business, meaning that they want to take your cryptocurrencies in exchange for precious metals, and to prove that they are crypto preferred, they have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760. That's 800-874-9760. Or visit online at rrbi.co. That's RRBI, as in Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Incorporated, rrbi.co. Now, let's jump very briefly into this story about hydration mistakes. Again, I made a huge one last Saturday, and I knew as soon as I began the run that it was going to be difficult, and I thought I was going to be able to power through. I finished going 5 miles, but I wasn't running the entire way. So just very briefly, and link will be in the show notes, hydration mistake number one is you don't drink enough water during the week, and then you just try to cram on race day or the weekends. You avoid salt, yet you shouldn't do that. Your fuel consists of energy gels and chews, but not sports drinks. You don't get enough magnesium or potassium, and you don't listen to your body. Again, links will be in the show notes. I'll be back on Monday. This has been Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copy Heart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News, and also get a copy of the monthly newspaper FPP News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.